Another video. Today we're going to talk about the NFP and what you can potentially expect from the NFP. We are going to use what's known as a regression analysis, and this is basically using historical information to make a future decision. Now if you are new to the channel, a sub would be appreciated, as I provide valuable educational content on a daily basis. And if you enjoy the video, please smash the like button. And the reason why you want to smash the like button is just as I'm putting out the hours to bring the content to you guys, the more the video gets liked, the more other people would be able to see the video and learn from it as well. So it's important that you hit that like button, which is going to take you, I don't know, 1 second or 2 seconds. You just be, as I'm helping you just helping someone else out there as well. Each one helps one. Moving along. And now let me know down in the comments below exactly what it is that you would like me to cover in my next video. Now, it's important that we are reactive and not predictive. Now, we have to always adapt. And one thing to keep in mind is you never want to trade fundamental data before it's released. Always wait 15 minutes before the data is available, because it's better to make a decision based off what you know as opposed to what you think you know is going to happen. Now, for those of you that don't know what the NFP is, the NFP is basically a non-farm payrolls. Now, the word payrolls describe what it is. That's basically the BLS gets data from private companies and government companies, which excludes farm workers and workers in a handful of other job classifications, which I do not know what they all are. But what basically happens is the BLS gets the data, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They survey private companies and government companies based on their payroll and how many people they've got onto their payroll, and that's how they kind of measure whether they making improvements on their employment, or how many new people were employed in the private sector and how many new people were employed in the government sector. Think of it in this way: for the company that you work, the government basically goes and tell your company, hey, how many people have you had on your payroll based off last month? And they say, well, we had 100 last month, and this month we have 120. The government says, okay, we love this, we are going to, that means we're making progress, and as a result of that, the unemployment rate drops there as well. So that's what the NFP is. Very simple. Now, there's a couple of factors that makes up the NFP that we are going to look at for last month. Firstly, it's the unemployment claims. Now, the unemployment claims tells us how many people had lost their jobs and applied for unemployment benefits, and that will give us an indication whether the number was higher than it was in April versus what it was in May. We can kind of make an indication what that is there as well. We're going to look at last month's NFP data. We're going to also look at the unemployment rate. We are going to also look at this month's unemployment claims, not this month, but last month's unemployment claims that came through. And that's primarily what we are going to be focusing on, is the unemployment claims, that pull through for last month and how many times they did not meet those targets. And then we're going to look at the unemployment claims that came through yesterday, as well as the ADP that came through for yesterday as well. We're going to speak about what ADP is. If you are new to the channel and you don't know what an ADP is, I'm going to explain that to you as well. It's automated data processing, which works similar to the non-farm payroll system, but we're going to dive into that. So I'm not going to go through all of these unemployment claims. We're going to start with this one over here. So before we get started, this is just purely my opinion, okay? So don't go out there and tell people I said that the NFP is going to be negative. That's not what I'm saying. However, I do expect the NFP to be positive, come through with a 3.5% unemployment rate, and potentially see the market actually getting anything, I'd say about 400k, about 400k new jobs added, and a 3.6% a 3.5% unemployment rate, and a 400k new jobs added, and the average hourly earnings to be at 0.4%. Now that's what I expect. Okay, all right, I'm giving you numbers. I'm not telling you that's expecting positive or negative. So that's on it. In any case, let's jump into the data, guys. What's the time now? Well, it's 12:32, so we still have an hour and a half. we still have enough time. So we're gonna start with unemployment claims for May. So we can see if the throughout May, the target over here felt well was higher. That's why it's hit. So we came through a high over there. Higher is not good because that means more people had lost their jobs and they filed for unemployment benefits. So that's bad. Next up, we have the unemployment claims over here, which was also higher, meaning that more people had filed for unemployment claims. Which is, again, it's not what you want to see. So you want to see these numbers come through lower, but you can see that it had increased week over week, and then within the last week I think we pulled back from 218,000. The expectation was 217, and that kind of dropped, so less people actually went to file for unemployment claims. And it was good to see that the numbers that pulled through yesterday also, it was sitting at 211k. What we saw yesterday, the market anticipated, or investors anticipated, at 210k. However, the unemployment rate or unemployment claims actually came through lower than expected, meaning that less people, they were hoping for more people, 10,000 people less actually filed for the unemployment claims. We can also see that the ADP, and if you don't know what an ADP is the ADP is an automated data processing company, which is the company that issues the report that handles payroll for about 1/5 of all privately employed individuals in the US. The ADP National Employment Report is viewed as a useful preview to the more detailed BLS employment situation report. So they go hand in hand with the NFP data. So the NFP, they also just get up, it's a automated data processing system that tells the government or the BLS how many new people were added on the system, and it works similar to the payroll there as well. So we can see that less people were added base of the system, but that could change at any time. They they could have let more, they could have let people go, or people were removed, or they could have hired more people but not add that people on the system yet, and we could potentially see whatever happened in the stock market with the likes of Netflix that had to lose all of that people. We could see that negative data pull through for the NFP for this month, for April, no, for June. So that's kind of where the situation is. So we had that 200k, which came through lower than expected, meaning that less people had filed for unemployment claims purely based off the speculation from the investors. And that is where we are at the moment. So you can see lots of mixed data, but with the ADP that came through lower, meaning that they've added lower. The unemployment claims was also lower, which kind of tells us that the data is quite mixed. But Powell had said, when he testified, he said that the job market is looking very, very, very good, and that the job market is exactly where they anticipated or expected the employment to be. So purely based off that, we can kind of gauge as well, based on testimony that Paul said, we can definitely expect the NFP to come through positive. But again, if it is negative, we just need to react to the fact that if the data comes through negative, we just need to react to that, and I'll obviously do an analysis purely based off the negative data for the weekly market breakdown on the dollar index pairs. Next up, we are going to look at what the big banks are forecasting the NFP to be. So you can see here we've got a lot of banks, and if you go and have a look at where are we now, if you look at the expectation is 325k, you can see that we have a lot of banks, or that are forecasting the NFP to be lower than higher than expected. We've got these, they got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, about 7 banks that says, or 7 companies that you're like, we don't expect it to be. So that's also some sort of an indication that we can also just ride off the back of what these big companies are thinking as well, which gives us further confirmation we could potentially see the NFP turn out positive there as well. And we could definitely expect the dollar index. I just printed this inverted head and shoulders, which is considered a bullish pattern from a technical perspective. The market also just came to fill this gap over here. We have that massive impulse correction to a 78.6. definitely some continuation to the upside expected. We had this massive bear run, and we definitely expect this market to pull back. So if the NFP data comes out, it's like I said, it's very important. The market could always just just liquidate further down before that move to the upside. Also, if you go on the lower time frames, you'll notice how the market will how the market will always find a consolidation, or will start a consolidation on the lower time frames. But we haven't seen that now, but we will see it closer to the time that the market as we get closer to NFP. We could potentially see that consolidation start right here. We could potentially see the market at just printed a W formation on 1 hour time frame pullback, and that continuation. It's just important. It's very important that you don't trade the data before it comes out. If the data comes out positive, then yes, we can start looking for long opportunities, as we expect the Federal Reserve to further increase interest rate hikes also, and we expect the dollar to increase in value in the long term there as well. But you have to be reactive and not predictive. You need to learn to adapt to the market that changes on a daily basis. Now that's all from my side. Thank you for your time. Good luck, and as always, cheers for years.